What's going on, guys? Back at you again, and we're doing a first part of a three-part of basically the divisional winners, who we think who's going to win the division. And I guess, yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll guess the next three teams after. So we'll do that now, and then after the draft, and then right before the regular season, after they do preseason and we see who's injured and who's left and read all the make-believe stories. And then we're gonna try to decipher who we think is gonna win a division. And obviously thereafter we'll figure out the Super Bowl and all that. Even though the last 2 years, I guess the Super Bowl went wrong, but it's crazy. I do well during the regular season, and the Super Bowl is just, I don't know. I psych myself out. I always initially pick the right team, and then I go away from it on the day of the Super Bowl. That's how it goes with me. I don't know. It's just stupid. But anyway, so I guess we'll start off with the AFC East. So we got the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets. So the last, I guess, 25 years it's been mostly the Patriots, but now that Tom's gone, you see their deficiencies, and it's their head coach. He's tone deaf on offense. Like, literally, he got a defensive coach to coach the offense? That would be like Bill Belichick getting a quarterback coach and making him the linebacker coach. No, he wouldn't do that. He's too prideful on defense to let that happen. But he'll let a defensive coordinator run plays because he doesn't have respect for the position of quarterback. He never respected Tom when he was over there. Giselle said it, right? Giselle Bundchen, his ex-wife, said it all the time. They never gave him any command of the offense, never any credit at all. They treated him like another guy. That's Tom Brady, you know? And that just shows right now. Now they have a mediocre quarterback, and Lamar's out there, and they're not even going to make an offer? Even though Baltimore can still counter it, but, like, not even try? And there's reports out there that are not even interested? So that tells me they're not looking to win, because we all know that the Patriots aren't good enough to win a Super Bowl. They're not winning a Super Bowl with this quarterback or this team right now. You don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that. Mac Jones can't even beat Josh Allen consistently. How are you going to beat Mahomes, Burrow, Lawrence? I don't even think the Patriots can consistently beat the Chargers because they have better quarterback play, and that's what the playoffs comes down to, mainly, and defense. Mostly quarterback play. That's what the Super Bowl showed us, right? The Super Bowl. But other than that, with that, I think the Patriots are going to be last in that division. And then with the Jets, we basically have to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers, which is why I'm doing a three-part version of this, just in case. What if no moves happen? Then it most likely will be the same. But if Aaron Rodgers shows up and then other people start coming in and out, it's going to change these a little bit. But for now, Patriots are last. And then right now, I would have to go the Jets would have to be third, only because they don't have a quarterback. And let me actually take a step back, I actually have to take that back. The Jets will be the fourth worst team if they don't acquire Aaron Rodgers. I promise you that. If the Jets don't acquire Aaron Rodgers and they go out there with Zach Wilson, that's a 3-win team at best on their best day. Then it's New England, because Mac Jones is better than Zach Wilson, only because he's accurate. He's not frantic with the ball. He doesn't look to be crazy. He runs a pro style. He's an improviser. He's a distributor. Zach Wilson isn't a distributor. He's more of a self-righteous improviser, I like to say. The guys that just run around, chicken head cut off, just looking for flashing colors, Those quarterbacks, man, they don't last long in this. He reminds me of Johnny Manziel. Like, that shit works in college, but in the NFL, even with how fake it is, that shit does not work, man. It just does not. And with that, then there's also another caveat, because what if Tua goes down in week 2 and he's out? Let's say it's a concussion again, and then he has to sit for the year, guys, because he's already had 3 or something last year. Once you have 4 or 5 concussions, the league kind of can't play you anymore. You kind of have to sit out for a long time. So there's a couple caveats. If the Jets don't get a quarterback And if Miami trots out there with their second string because Tua can't stay upright, that would put Miami near the Jets category without their quarterback, honestly. So there's a few caveats here. So that's why this is a part one. But as of right now, it would be Jets 4, New England 3, Miami 2, and Buffalo as 1. Until they get dethroned, they have to be 1. They haven't had any big losses. They've added players. So until these teams surpass them, we can't just say, oh, it's Miami, or it's the Jets. Even if Aaron Rodgers shows up tomorrow, I still can't say it's the Jets. They would have to show us before I come out here and just do that. Even with Aaron Rodgers, what the hell has he done even with the Packers? He hasn't done shit. We're still calling him great from a championship he won back in 2011. So, that's just, I mean, I'm not lying, am I? That's just the truth. Truth hurts sometimes, don't it? All right, let's go to the AFC North. So with this division, so there's a caveat with this one. If Lamar's not on the Ravens, they're gonna probably bomb it. I would say Baltimore would be last if Lamar's gone. But if Lamar is there, which he is, so he's currently on the team, so we have to assume he's gonna be there. So he is there. So I would go. In Cleveland, do you think they're going to get their act together? They're going to have Deshaun for a full season? I just don't know. He didn't look too good last year. He looked really good 3 years ago. 3 years ago, the guy was tearing up the NFL. But when you sit out for 2 years, I don't know, things happen, man, and things change. The game changes. The game changes every year. Like, literally, after a year, the whole league flips almost. Like, players move. Like, after 2 years, teams just don't even look the same at all from when they were 2 years ago. So, the speed of the game gets faster, too. Quicker, actually. More quicker than faster. So, I don't know. They would have to show us anything. Let's see what they do during the draft. But until then, I got to keep them at 4. At 3, I'm going to go Pittsburgh until they show me something with the draft. Because right now, they haven't done much. You know what I mean? The Cleveland Browns and the Steelers haven't done too much. And now it comes down to the Baltimore Ravens and the Bengals. With the Ravens, it really just comes down to if Lamar's going to be there and if he stays healthy. If he stays healthy the entire year, which he's never done, and apparently in January and December, since he's been playing in his career, he's only played 1 game. He's 1 for 12 games. He's played 1 out of 12 games from December to January. So basically when your team needs you, he's basically not available. So that means he's getting hit and going through the wear and tear of the season, and then he's hitting a wall. That's what that tells me. So teams are noticing that. Teams are saying, you're a great regular season quarterback, but it seems like you're burning out towards the latter part of the year where we need you. So until he finishes an entire year, I can't say that he's going to beat out Joe Burrow. So I got to go Baltimore 2 and then the Bengals 1. Now we got Jacksonville, Titans, Colts, Texans. So let's think here. Because, hold on, let me pull up the draft order because I don't like thinking when I can get the actual order. Draft order. Should have already had that up. Hate wasting time. Alright. So let's see here. Draft order. Alright. So who picks for the Panthers? Texans and then the Colts. Alright. So the Texans pick first and then the Colts. So it depends on what quarterbacks they pick. Because the Texans, they've made a bunch of moves. This team, I've said it already. This team's going to be much better next year. They're going to at least double their wins. I know that's not a lot, but for when they didn't win a game last year, and then they won 3 this year. If they win 6 next year, it's an improvement. But they can win more than 6, guys. They've made a lot of improvements, and they got that guy from the San Francisco 49ers over there, DeMeco Ryans. He's a really good coach. He knows his shit, ex-player, all that. I followed him a lot during his career while I was younger, so I know a lot about him. He knows what he's doing. So I would think that they're actually going to be better than the Colts, who don't even know who their head coach is. So Jim Irsay, he's kind of burning that city down, that whole team down. I don't trust the Colts, man. I don't trust Irsay. Ever since Peyton left, I don't trust them. Peyton was the only thing keeping that ship afloat, guys. If you really think about it, if Peyton Manning goes down, they went 0-16. Even with Andrew Luck there, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't keep him upright. Peyton Manning had to get surgery on his neck because of them. They couldn't protect him. You know, just Irsay doesn't know what he's doing. You can't trust him. It's a bomb fire. How can you? You can't bet on the Colts. I think the Texans do better than the Colts next year. Now, Tennessee, where do they pick? Let's see here. Tennessee Titans. They pick at 11. They like Tannehill. Their defense is all right. Let's see. I guess Derrick Henry's probably going to stay. They lost a receiver. Mostly you assume they're going to pick defense. That's what they usually do. They could use an edge rusher. Every team can. But they really could use some line protection. Left tackle. They're shipping all their linemen off, it seems. Every team I see has an ex-Titan lineman. So it's like, what are we doing? And then where's Jacksonville picking? Very rare that they pick late in the draft. They're 24. So they're not going to get an extremely high impactful player. But they'll get a starter. They'll definitely get a starter, but I don't know where they'll go with the starter. Probably defense. Because offense, Trevor's got that on lock. They just need a few more pieces. They need a blocking tight end, someone that can get nasty in there and also catch here and there. That's really what they need. Because Evan Ingram is not that. So with that, I would say the Jags would be 1. The only reason I'm saying Titans is because they know who their quarterback's going to be. I'm not saying he's good. I'm just saying they know who he is. So don't chop me down for saying it. Tannehill has gotten to the playoffs. You know, he's been in the league for over 10 years. So he should be able to beat out a bunch of kids, at least the first year. I'm not saying I'm just saying for 1 year, guys. And this is the part 1, so it might change after I see who gets who. So just keep that in mind. But Tannehill should be able to beat out a bunch of kids their first year. Second year, third year going on, I don't know. Probably not, and he probably won't even be there. I'm talking just this year. So until I see who these two teams draft, or what if they don't? What if they botch it? They could botch the draft and not even get a quarterback. We'll see. So that's why I'm saying we don't know how they rig this draft. So until then, it has to be Jags 1, Titans 2. Honestly, at this moment right now, I like the Texans more than the Colts, just as their team is constructed currently. Colts don't even know where their quarterback's going to be. That's like where the quarterbacks go to die. Like I wouldn't bet anything on them. How could you? Every time they bring a quarterback over there, it crashes and burns. Let's think about this list ever since Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, actually. We'd have to say Andrew Luck. What was it? Jacoby Brissett burned, right? And then it was what? Phillip Rivers, right? Burned, right? Then they went after Carson Wentz. They put a lot of stake into him and paid a lot of money for him. Boom, crash and burn. And now this year they paid that money to Matt Ryan. Now they're releasing him. Boom. 4 or 5 guys didn't work. So I'm supposed to believe that just because you draft a young guy, it's supposed to all work now, all of a sudden. No, I'm not believing that. I got to see it first. So until then, I'm putting Texans 3rd, guys. And then the Colts will be last until they show me otherwise. Or the draft, we'll see. Maybe I like the quarterback they pick over the Texans. We'll see then. We'll see, guys. But as of right now, that's what I'm thinking. All right, here we go. AFC West. Over here, KC is going to be number 1. I'll just start off with that. Because Patrick Mahomes is their little cover boy. So he's always going to be their guy. He's 26, 27, so at least the next 10 years he's going to be their guy. Just like Aaron Rodgers was back in like 08, 09. Actually, it was more like 09, 10. For like the next 6 years, it was Aaron Rodgers on every commercial. This is the new Aaron Rodgers of our time, you know what I mean? Of this time, I should say. So that's going to be his division for the foreseeable future. Next, This is where it kind of was. I was having a hard time just because both of these two teams, the Broncos and the Chargers, they both picked up an offensive coordinator that can light it up and knows their shit and knows what the hell they're doing. The Chargers, they picked up Dallas's. All right, what's his name? Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore can draw up plays like the best of them. He knows tempo. He has attitude, precision. Basically that's all you need really to be an offensive coordinator, and he's literally demands the most from his players. And he was an ex-quarterback, successful in college, got to played a lot of big games, played a little bit in the NFL, but didn't work out. But we know it's more of a business in the NFL, and it's obviously scripted, and there's a lot going on, bells and whistles. So there's that. And then the Broncos, they have a Super Bowl winning head coach in Sean Payton. And you know he came in with a plan. A guy like Sean Payton, smart as hell. I'm talking, this guy is usually the smartest guy in the room wherever he goes. So he had a plan coming into this year for Russell Wilson. He would never go to a team without knowing what he was going to do. And Russell plays, even though Breeze didn't have the wheels, they have the similar type of arm and size and throw trajectory, and the angles that they're going to be throwing at is the same as Drew Brees. So he's going to be able to work with him, and I think he's going to fix Russell Wilson. I think Russell was a product of a terrible head coach that didn't know what to do. He was just calling plays rhythmically. Like, he had no type of plan to what he was doing. He was just calling plays to call plays. That's what I felt like. It felt like a 5-year-old playing Madden almost. It was hard to watch. Anyone, like, I'm not even being mean or funny. This is what anyone would tell you. It just was not a good experience. So, with that, I think I trust Sean Payton more than I trust the Chargers. I think the Denver Broncos will turn it around, and I'll be able to redeem myself with that video I made with them turning it around. So I got Denver going second and the Chargers going third, but I think their records will be rather close. I think it's going to be a close run between them, and then Vegas will be last. We don't know who it's Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think Garoppolo is better than Russell. I don't think Garoppolo, even though Garoppolo did beat him with the Niners, but in that ugly, 9-6 game or whatever it was, 9-8, I forget. Ugly stinker where the Niners beat the Broncos. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see Garoppolo better than any of these teams, so I'm going to have them as last. That's not going to help Garoppolo at all. But who knows? They might script it for Garoppolo to have a good year and then make the Chargers not do well and make the Chiefs not do as well. Make the Chiefs go like 11-6 or something, just to switch it up a little bit. Who knows? But that's what I'm going with right now. For now, we'll come back after the draft. Like I said, before the season. All right, let's do the NFC now. AFC is a lot easier to pick because there's way more better quarterbacks. So when you have better quarterbacks, it's easier to predict a game. Whereas the Lions division, it's going to be hard to predict. We're going to get to that next, but that division is going to be very hard to pick just because there's no established quarterback there. So now with the Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, let's see here. I would guess I would give the Eagles 1 just for now, just out of respect of what just happened and took place. I would give that to the Eagles. 2, I would have to go with the Cowboys lost Zeke. Giants are adding players. Giants team is intact mainly, and they got rid of bums that hurt them. Cowboys, they're losing players that they should keep. I think Amari Cooper, getting rid of him, that hurt them so bad. Amari had such a great year with Cleveland. No one watches him play, so they don't know. But if he was on Dallas, I think Dallas would have done much more damage had they had another guy that Dak can go to. Because Dak isn't Tom Brady. He can't just make it happen. He needs the guys to be there. So if he has a bunch of guys like Amari, all these guys around him, he can make it work. But Dak can't just do it all by himself. He's never been that. He's just a good quarterback. That's it. So, I mean, I guess I'll give Dallas the edge just because of. Actually, you know what, guys? I take that back. I'm picking Giants second because the Cowboys, they just lost their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, who I believe was the reason they were so good. I think it's going to really show. Kellen Moore being gone is going to really show their weaknesses there because he knew how to call plays and their strengths and where to go because he played on that team, so he knows the players and how to use them too. Not all the players were there when he played, but a lot of them were, so he knew how to use a lot of them. Other than that, I think the Giants are going to jump them this year. Eagles, Giants, Cowboys third, Commanders fourth. Who's their quarterback? Commanders don't even know who their quarterback is. All right. If you're telling me it's that guy from last year, Taylor Heineke, good guy, just he's not taking you where you need it to go. I know all his teammates love him, but you're not winning games, guys. You're 8-8. You need a quarterback. He's a backup. Let's stop, playing this stupid game. They don't. Washington doesn't seem to ever take shit seriously with these quarterbacks. They had Robert Griffin. They traded the farm for him, right? Haven't still recovered from that. They still have not recovered from that. And then they botch him, guys. They injure him and they bring him back injured. And then that ruined his career. Now he was never the same after that. They should have just let him sit his ass out while he was hurt. And then you have him next year and beyond, and you try again. But to try to make a rookie quarterback play while he's hurt, and his knee on top of that while it's already torn up, what do you expect's gonna happen? That shows you that these coaches don't give an F about you. They don't care about these players. They don't care about you. Always. That's why I'm with Lamar when he doesn't play. Don't play till you get your money. Get paid first. Make sure there's guaranteed money. Don't play without getting paid. Hell nah. Not in the NFL. Unless they pay you, do not play, man. Screw that. I don't care what anyone says. Because when you go down, is anyone going to be there to pay your bills when you can't get paid anymore? Or you need medical bills? No, they're not. They'll just be talking and counting your money, right? No, don't care about what people say. Get your money. Especially from the NFL. That sleazy company. All right. So we got the Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears. All right, let's get this out of the way. The Vikings, what they did last year, it's not going to happen again. 11 of those games were one-point possession games that miraculously win in the last seconds. That's not going to happen again. You're not going to get those bounces to happen. That's not something you can predict to happen again. That's all lucky shit. They easily could have been 6 and whatever. You know what I mean? So they got lucky, guys. I don't see that luck trickulating again next year. Or trickling, I should say. Let's see. I would say, I think Jordan Love's going to be good. Obviously, he's not Patrick Mahomes, obviously, but I think he's serviceable. He's a young guy. He's athletic. The guys like him. I think he'll be fine. He's got players around him. He basically just has to not crash the Bentley. That's it. He's got receivers, right? You look around, he's got guys, young guys that he can grow with. He's got running backs. He's got the tight end over there. And a decent defense. So, I'm not saying they're world beaters, but they'll be all right. And the Bears, they've made so many moves on... excuse me, I'm losing my voice. The Bears have made so many moves during the offseason. They've gotten receivers, running backs, linebackers. That's the problem. They get linebackers. They waste money on linebackers. I would like to see them spend more money on the O-line and their offense. Protect Justin Fields. Maybe they do that in the draft. So let's say they draft O-linemen and pass rushers and maybe a DB or so. This team is a whole different team from last year. This team literally can win 10 games. 8 to 10 games, depending on what happens with the Packers. But I think the Bears end up being better than the Packers next year. And possibly the Lions, guys. But honestly, I would pick the Lions to win the division. Call me crazy, but the way they were looking last year, that offense, if they can build on that and keep drafting and make that defense a little bit better to give up less points, Detroit will probably win this division, guys. because I don't see people stopping that offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown just going crazy. Jared Goff finding everybody. He plays so well in the dome. What's their home record? 5-4. Not that great, but he was 5-1 in the division, and that's where it counts. I think he's going to win the division. That's what we're talking about here. So I'll pick the Lions, and then I guess I would go the Bears, guys. Call me crazy. They have a defensive coach. I know that doesn't matter, but it does in terms of point scoring, and it does actually state that offensive coaches have been more successful than defensive. But with that, Lions, Bears, and then I think the Packers will be third, and the Vikings will hit the bottom, guys. They lost Adam Thielen. They're still using Kirk Cousins, man. He can't win a playoff game. They don't even know what's happening with Dalvin Cook yet. They've lost a bunch of DB. They've lost a bunch of players. They lost Pat Peterson. I think he went to the Steelers. Somebody misquote me if I'm wrong. Other than that, the Vikings are losing players, guys. Yeah, I know they have an offensive coach. Yeah, I know they have an offensive team. But then you can't afford to lose defensive players, which they're doing. They've lost a bunch. You know what I mean? Now they're losing offensive players. Adam Thielen was such a valuable asset on their team. Like, that's their second most productive player on their team that is gone. Or maybe third. It's between him and Dalvin. I think he's more productive than Dalvin, because he's their third down guy. He's their big catch guy. I know Justin Jefferson makes a lot of big plays, but Thielen is that guy they go to when they need a big third down or someone reliable. So it's going to hurt not having him. He went to the Panthers, I want to say. So the Panthers, we're going to be talking about them next. So I think just because of that, I think they're going to be last, guys. I think the Vikings are taking a hit. Every year is different, guys. Like I said, every year in the NFL is different because it's about entertainment. They don't want people to guess how it used to be. I know 20 years ago and beyond, even 10, 15 years ago, you were able to basically say who's going to win the division every year for like at least 10 years straight. You were able to do that. It's not like that anymore. The NFL is changing. They don't want it to be like that with all the betting rules. They want it to be harder on people. They don't want any wizards out here. So we're almost done here. So we got, I just wanted to see what that was. All right, so we got the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Falcons. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have Baker Mayfield. I mean, Baker Mayfield can hold that team down. Dare I say, he can go 8-9 with that team and do what Brady does, or did, I should say. But then again, he could go in there and screw it all up. We've seen good Baker. We've seen bad Baker. You got Mike Evans, Godwin over there. You got a bunch of big guys you can get the ball to. But the question of the matter is going to be, can he get the ball to him? Because I know the big question with him and OBJ was him not being able to find him on the field. So that's just the question. We're going to have to wait and see with that. Until we see it, I don't know. Carolina, they got Andy Dalton, but they're also looking to draft, right? Yeah, they got the first overall pick. So I'm thinking they're going to draft a quarterback and groom him behind Andy Dalton and let Andy show him the way for a few games. Or maybe the whole year. And then they'll have their rookie for next year. Or if Andy Dalton is just stinking up the joint. But I think Andy will hold it down. Because look at this. He was literally one game away from making it. If he can, with the Saints though, obviously. If he can do that again, this rookie won't have to play this year, guys. You can just stall and let him learn and not throw him in the fire. I prefer that. I prefer my rookie not being thrown in. Like, look at Patrick Mahomes. He got to sit behind Alex Smith. Look at Tom Brady. Sat behind Bledsoe. Like, it's always better. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Sat behind Favre. Steve Young, Montana. The list goes on, guys. It's better for these guys. I know it's good and they can do it, but just because you can do something doesn't mean you should be, guys. Like, come on. It's not fair to these guys to be thrown out there like that. And then we got New Orleans. Who's their quarterback? Oh, yeah, Derek Carr. And then Desmond Ridder. I guess with that being said, I would pick Derek Carr to win the division because he's the only proven guy. with this. I mean, but at the same time, he's going to be winning in spite of his head coach. His head coach is terrible. Dennis Allen is terrible. This is his second stint, and he's not doing well. All right, so he went 2-4 in the division. That's not getting it done. You can't have that again. But I'm doing this based on Derek Carr and before the draft, obviously. This could change. It probably will. But as of now, we got Derek Carr and the Saints. I'll pick them first. Then I will go Buccaneers. Then I'll go Panthers. And then the Falcons. Just because the Falcons, I don't trust them with Desmond Ridder. We saw him play last year. He looks like the guy that was playing ahead of him. He looked like Mariota, you know. Desmond Ridder just looked like a younger version of Mariota. They play the same. Like, that's not going to get it done. That's not going to win you a championship. Now, if you tell me they're getting Lamar Jackson, that changes everything. Then Lamar wins that division every year. If Lamar lands on the Falcons, guys, the Falcons win that division every single year because these teams aren't that good in this division. You got to understand, every division, the style of football is different. Like, if you watch teams play in each division, you'll feel that it's different. An AFC game is way different from an NFC game. Like, a Lions game is different from a Jets game. It does not feel, if you watch them on two different screens, it feels way different. A Jets game feels more slowed down, whereas the Lions is sped up. It's just different styles of football. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Saints 1, Bucks 2, Panthers 3, Falcons 4. I trust Dalton more than the Falcons quarterback, Ridder. And they're going to get the first overall pick for another quarterback. So they're basically doubling down. Falcons got one guy. Where do they pick in the draft? Let's see here. Falcons. They pick 8th. So they could trade up and make something happen. So that's why I say let's wait till the draft. Because people can trade up. The LA Rams saying F them picks. They could have had a 6th-round pick. But there's no one they even want in this draft. They're kind of just like shipping everyone off. They shipped Jalen Ramsey off to the Dolphins. Yeah, so that's how that will go. So the last division here, let's see here, the Niners, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals. So we'll just right off the bat, Cardinals will be last. They don't have a quarterback. They're going to be starting their second stringer for like the first 10 weeks right out of the gate. So that can't be good. I mean, at least they're going to get a good draft pick. At that point, though, if they're like 0-8 or like 0-10 and Kyler's ready to come back, I think at that point you just say, yeah, let's just sit out, bud. Let's get that first overall pick so you don't get hurt again. We'll get you a left tackle. Get you what you need, basically. Anything you need. We get the first overall pick so we get to pick what we want. And then I would do it that way because he's already paid. He's there. He's going to be there for the next 5 years, 4 or 5 years. So he gets to get paid this year without even playing. So lucky him. But then he gets to have the number 1 pick if that plays out for him. But we'll see. So they're last. And then I think the Rams will be 3rd because they're shipping guys off. They're looking to have another down year. Because Matthew Stafford has a lot of health issues, they're saying. A lot of acute issues that they've been keeping under the table. So Matthew Stafford may not even be here at the beginning of the year, I'm hearing. But we'll see. Even if he does come back, there's a lot of issues. Their left tackle, ever since Whitworth left, they have had no stability at the left tackle spot, which is why he was hurt. And Baker was unsuccessful there. They just couldn't get the time needed. And in that division, it's all pass rushers. Even with the Cardinals, they have pass rushers. It's just not a good team, but they still have pass rushers. So in this division, you need good tackles. So the Rams are in a little bit of a pickle here. And now it's between the Hawks and the Niners. I think the Seahawks will be 2nd and the Niners will be 1st. I just think that's how that will go. We'll see how the draft goes. Maybe the Seahawks get a quarterback or the Niners make a move. Who knows? Because as of now, the Niners have who? Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy, and Trey Lance. So I guess Trey Lance would start the year, right? Unless he loses to Sam Darnold. And if he loses out to Sam Darnold, oh my God, your career must be over. Like, unless that was just not a good spot for him. Like, you would think that it would be, considering that Shanahan is a QB whisperer and he picked him, handpicked, gave up picks for him. And they did that with RG3 and had success. Now you're telling me it's not going to work with this guy? So that would be devastating if this doesn't pan out. But in the NFL, man, it's more about getting it right than being right. A lot of these coaches want to be right instead of get it right. So I guess that's why the Niners are good, because they like to get it right. So if they ship him off and start Donald until Purdy's ready, that's getting it right. But we'll see if they do that. Maybe they play Trey and he lights it up. Who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. But until the draft, this is what we're going with, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.